Good morning, traders. Welcome to our trading room. I'm glad to see so many of you. I hope we can have much more people. There are about 300 plus who registered, and I hope they can join us at least sometime during the week and during the day. So first, let me clear up the thing about that timing. I had to put a time for the starting time, but it's an open link, which means it's open for the entire week. I can join it anytime. There will be no fixed time, but there will be two fixed sessions that you should know of. That is this session, 8 a.m. You could join me 15 minutes before the start, and 8 a.m. in New York session, which is New York, 8 a.m., 15 minutes before that. You join me, I'll be there. So those two sessions we will fix. I would be there. There are sessions in between. I would join you. If I do, go to my Facebook page and set up your notification to get it. I just posted a notice on my Facebook ProWave page where I would put the message that we are starting in 5 minutes or 10 minutes. At least 5 to 10 minutes time, I'll give you the notification so you get the notice and you can join me. Normally, we have about 5 to 7 sessions a day in our trading room. This is the second session. We had a session this morning in our trading room. This is the second. And normally, before I start the first session, there is a session by my traders in the trading room in the Asian session when I'm still asleep. When I go to sleep in the night, there will be a session in the late New York session done by one of my traders as well. So it's a non-stop trading sessions by all our group. And we have really good traders who can manage the group at any point in time. This is not a one-man show, as you might have thought to believe if you've never been in here, right? We have excellent traders who can manage this room at any time. And they all stay here because it's lifetime access for free. This room is absolutely free. No one is paying for it, right? And just to give you a quick calculation so that you would have the understanding of what the trading room is cost, why it's free, and you can't pay for it. There are traders in the room at least for 4 years. We do 5 sessions. Let's take 5 sessions a day. At least 5 sessions a day, right? Multiply by 5 days a week, right? Multiply by how much days, how much weeks? 4 weeks in the month. Multiply by 12 months in the year. Well, we don't do 12 months. Let's say 11 months. Let's take a month off, right? You can do the math. That's 5 by 5. That's 25. Multiply by 4. That's 100. Multiply by 11. That's 1,100 in a year. Sessions. If you're here per 4 year, multiply that by 4. You probably have something like 0. That's 0, 4, 4. That's 4,400. Did I get the calculation correct? I hope so. Right? You can recalculate. I might have made a mistake somewhere. So this should be 25 times 4. That should be 100 times 11. Right? That's 1,100 times 4. That's 4,400. That's how much sessions you get. The cost of the webinar, you're paying only for the course, and the cost of the course is only $2,500. And if you're here for 4 years, this is how much sessions you get. You can count the cost of the session. That's why it's free. You can't pay for it. And there are traders here who are longer than that, and they're making money. And we're glad that they're happy. That we want you, all the successful traders, to stay so that they can help new traders who are joining us now. Basically, if you have an understanding why this is free. Right? So if you heard anything outside of that, it's a misconception of what we do. So let's go. Let's start. For those who are not here, just for the sake of what I just showed you guys, I'm going to show them the group again very quick. I hope that takes a minute. I don't like to take long doing this. This is our group. We were in Facebook, and basically these are all the groups we have inside where we're putting, right? So these are special recordings, which we do. These are the daily recordings, which is done. This one is the watch list. That's the trades we are in every day, every session, 5 sessions a day. It's recorded. That is recorded. What happens to the trade, how it's progressing, which one we're taking off, which one we're closing, which one we're taking profit of. It's a step-by-step process, never stops, right? So that's what happened, and everything else is in there. Recordings of the classes, the previous courses we do, training sessions, everything is in there. Let's go. Let's start. So I'll go through here from here. Dollar index. I'm going to try to go through the ones that has nothing very fast, and the ones that has more thing, I'm going to stay a little more long on them with details, right? These are all sell setups. When you see something like that, that is the sell setup we have. So we don't have any sell setup here because I wasn't here this morning when this is dropping, and I'm not really looking for a sell. I mean, I'm not, what is gone is gone. We're going to wait for a flag and then we're going to sell it. What do I think is going to happen to the dollar index? Remember what I told you on the daily and the weekly. I'd like you to go back and look at them. This is what we have. This is the chart, right? I know for a fact that this came from somewhere at the top there, so forget about that piece, right? It actually came something like this. No, like it came from the top, came here, and then came back down. So we're literally looking at this. Once you break the top of that, the chances are this could come back and break the low. Not necessary, but that is a very high probability of happening. Once you break the top, you start looking for sell setups because it's going to come. And at some point, this is not coming in a straight line, right? Nothing moves in a straight line. If I find a bigger one, let me see if I can find a bigger dollar index. Do we have it anywhere else? DXY, we have it here. We have it there. Which one we're using? Oh, yeah, we have the bigger one here, basically, right? So you can see where it came from and what it's doing. When they kind of go up from this one, right? They kind of come down, they're going up. I think there's a good chance we go down back. It's not a straight line, but it could be a really fast move to the downside, which you don't want to miss, right? If you're trading. So come back to the 1 hour. Let me go back to the one I'm using, and you'll see that we realize once we broke the top, we start looking for sell setups, which is pretty easy, right? Not that difficult to do. So it's still sell, you just have to wait for corrections. At some point, it's going to make a deeper correction, right? It's going to make a bigger correction, and then it's going to drop. Once we figure out that a bigger correction is coming, we'll start to look for buy setups and sell setups, which means you're going to buy short term, we're going to sell long term. Go to the silver. Silver, we're looking for a buy. We bought already this a few times. We're looking for a buy. We had a buy here that we closed. Again, by rule, by our rule, if you're in the trade and it's not going, and we have like specific time and so that we look for, depends on the strategy. If it's not going, you close it, you put an entry above the top. That entry at this moment is still valid, and the 15, that's still a valid entry. It's above the top here. It's still valid for this piece, but once we are here, I don't think it's going to take off. I think it's going to come back here. We're going to have a flat pattern, and then we will look for a buy here. Now, can this actually drop through the bottom? If you're looking at this pattern, say, what are the chances of this one making a new low? Right? If you're looking at, is it possible? And I can tell you right now, yeah, there is a high probability that this could go make a new low, but we don't have a buy setup. But if you look at the pattern and you understand anything about pattern, when they come back to this level, that probability has just been reduced, which means that it could come here and it could take off. So either we're going to get a sell this week. If we don't get this, it drops suddenly, we're going to get a buy on the way up, or any sell under this low would be a good one. Out of the structure under here, we will take. So this week for sure, we're going to have a trade in silver, either a buy or a sell. And you will have a step-to-step view of which pattern we're looking at and what's the reason for the trade. Right? So right now we don't have anything. So why is the entry order above the top? Well, there's a good reason for that. It could take off and make a running flat. And if it's going to make a running flat, we want the trade, which means if this takes off, there are smaller flats in here, very small ones, and they go and they make small ones and go in small ones. And then you get to pull back like that and they go. We call this a long drawn out running flat. And if that happens, we want the trade. It's not in every pattern you see that, but it could happen on this one. On the bigger picture, there is an upside to this. That is why we're also putting it. If you were following me, and I think most of you here were following me for a long time, remember when we were going up and I showed you this pattern and I said, once we break this top, we're going to come back to break the low. And I did not know what was going to happen in the world at any point in time. I'm telling you about the way patterns behave. Break the top, they're coming back to retest the low. And when we test this low, there's a higher probability we're going way back to the top, because then we start to look at the bigger picture, right? You start looking at the bigger picture, and the bigger picture is we're in a consolidation. And when you break the low of these consolidations, you're coming back to the top. Now, I don't think this is the next impulse like this going up. I think this is just part of the correction, which means this one is going up for this here. We're going to go up something like this, and we will come back down something like this, and then the impulse should come. If I'm right about it, this is what a pattern would look like. An impulse, a deep correction, and then the next impulse. Pretty simple. An impulse coming down, a big correction here, and then the next impulse. Patterns behave these ways. Why? Don't ask me. I have no clue. But that's what they do. We study the past patterns, and then we determine what the future ones could be, right? We see similarities, and then we said, okay, this is what we're going to do. So right now we're looking for everybody. Right now we're looking for this trade to the upside, right? If you have questions, keep them to the end. I'll take some questions. Why is somebody? Oh. Somebody's microphone is open. I don't know why I'm muting. I'm trying to mute the person. Can't mute him. Clint, your microphone is open. Please mute it. Thank you. Everybody's supposed to be muted. Sorry about that. Let's go. Yeah. So this potentially, right? This gold we're looking for. We're in the buy and gold. Right now we're in the buy. You should close that buy already. If you didn't close it, move your stop on it to about this level, or you should stop should be here, which means you should be out of the trade. Right? That trade is already going down. You can be out. Probably a 15-minute sell. Should we take the 15-minute sell? No. I'll show you why. Because in the bigger picture, I showed you gold also. We're looking at the possibility that it's going to make this pattern. If you're following me, we looked at this 1, 2, 3. We looked at this 1, 2, 3. And the high probability is it's going to go back up to the top. This is also in a daily correction. These details my trader already see, but I'm doing it for you guys because you're new, right? We'll follow all these patterns the whole week. So if you have the patience to look through the higher time frame as well, it will help you. We're looking for this to come here, and then we'll complete this pattern and then go down. As of now, that pattern is working perfect. Unless there's a structural change in it, like I see something else start to form differently, then we look back at a pattern and said, if that is not the pattern that we're looking at, then what is the next pattern that we know that we are seeing that could work? Right? That would be the next question. Right now, this one is working perfect. It's going up. I think any pullback is a correction. So I'm not quite interested in that sell because it's more of a correction right now coming down. It could come down here, just like these pullback, just like this one. Wouldn't be surprised if they come here and then go back up. If we get a sell on the 1 hour here, then if it has to make a drop, make a 1 hour flag, give us a possibility for an impulse here, then we'll take that trade to the upside. If we get that big one, right? If we see right now it's a 15-minute trade, it's not really that good, so stay away from it. This one, you should be out of this. So for my traders, when you're out of this, we will say that trade is closed. You're out of the trade. We'll take this off. There is no trade on that right now. See, that's what we do. So looking at this one, wait for this. It's just going sideways. It can probably go lower. I could see the possibility of them breaking this low. We really don't have a trade setup. There was probably one, but under here, we'll look for any sell setup, right? Because we're still in an up move. If it goes up, do you want to buy? Well, the buy could be short-term to this level only. So it's not really a good risk or reward trade. If it takes off like a rocket, we'll consider the buy. Even if we miss the buy itself, the idea is let it go to the top here and then we're looking for the sell. I want this move up. Right now, I believe they'll drop. I want it to actually drop to about this level. And then we look for that buy and then we get the sell. So, right, this buy is not really a good idea. We bought it once, but it's a break even because it didn't go anywhere. Sorry, go back to the 1 hour. Euro is a buy. We just got tagged. We actually put this buy on this morning. I'll show you where the buy is. We had a buy in euro before we closed it, which is on this one. You're tagged on that buy now on the 1 hour. That means you're just tagged on the buy. Don't worry about it very much. We have to be there for 3 or 4 hours before we close the trade. So you're tagged in the first one. This is what we would do with it. You're tagged in the first trade here for 1 hour. The second hour doesn't go. If this third hour doesn't go, it comes back at the 4 hour. We'll close the trade. We'll put an entry above the top. It means the trade is not going. It's unlikely going to go. It will probably pull back deeper and then continue to go. Right? So your stop for that trade should be somewhere here or somewhere here, depending which strategy you're using. In any case, you're not going to allow it to come back, not to this stop, not to this stop. The idea is to close the trade before it comes back to your stop and get back into the trade if it's going to continue to go. The biggest problem you would learn that most traders make is not getting into a trade. That's the easy part. It's not even getting into right trade. That's easy. You can accidentally get the right trade. It's how do you manage the trade once you're inside? I find that dealing with traders for so long and doing one-on-one, right? The biggest mistake traders make is they make money and then they give it up in a few trades because they don't know how to manage the trades as they go along. So like I said, that's one of the things you'll probably learn, trade management. Getting into the right trades would be great if you know analysis and you're doing it correctly. Once you manage your trade correctly, you would be good to go. So right now it's too early. This could still go. You can see they consolidate, they go, they consolidate, they go, they consolidate, go. Give the hour to close. This will close in 45 minutes. Then we'll make the decision in the next hour. Found? We're in this trade already, and this is going good. There's no need to do anything with it. You can move your stop on the 15 minutes. Yep, if you move your stop, you're still in the trade. We put the stop here this morning. You can move the stop up to this level and keep it now. It's making a flag on the 15, but on the 1 hour, I think it's pretty early. It's still, yeah, it's still, this is the 3rd hour and the 1 hour. If it stays there for a normal, we'll put an entry above the top. This will pull back. It's not, the reason we're moving the stop on this to take the profit out is that it will pull back. We don't know from where, maybe from here, maybe a little more higher, and then from here. It's going to pull back for this. It will have to pull back for one of that first, make a flat here, go up, go back up, come back down, make a bigger one and go. Those are the two patterns that I see that are likely going to form, two running flats. We will trade both of them. You stay here, you follow all the sessions, you will see that, right? Aussie. We're in two Aussie buys. This one we closed right at this level, and we put the entry above the top. So you're in the second one. I'll take this off. That trade is over. You're in the second one. It's 1, 2, next. So if this hour doesn't go the next hour close, we close the trade. We do have some divergence, which means it could either make a deeper correction or it could go back to the low. Now, if this takes off and that divergence goes away, well, then we will stay with the trade for a longer term. Aussie can go back all the way to the top. Let me just show you this, sorry. We can go back all the way to the top. This is a corrective structure in the making. It could either pull back like this and then go, you know, like this, come back here, go back there, maybe even come back here and then go, depending on how much patterns you're going to have in here, how complex it's going to be. Can this one take off? It can, but I think that would be rare. Right? It's rare that this one takes off, that this is the bigger correction, this is the low and they go, right? It could happen, but it's unlikely. You could just wait. We'll still trade it up. Every time we come to the low, we'll still trade it up, right? We'll still trade this back up every time we come to the low. So just wait for that to go. You can see this is the impulse and this is the correction. By the way, if you go back and you watch, I think when we were somewhere here last year, I think early last year, the year before, somewhere in here, 2020, yeah, somewhere in 2020, I did the Aussie page when I said, it's going to go up, it's going to make a pullback and then continue to go. We were here, we're actually in this little correction. This is going to go, and then you will even get a deeper correction before they go. I think I did it when it was in this one. And it went up and it started to pull back and somebody went crazy. Oh my God, he said it's going to go up. Look, it's coming down, right? And then it went up. Well, now it's actually coming down, but it's not coming down. It's going sideways. That doesn't mean you can't trade it. We actually traded that down. We traded this up. We traded this down. We'll trade this up. We'll trade this down, and then we'll get a bigger trade. You trade on the daily. This is long-term analysis. So when you come here, you're looking for this trade to go up. We're in the trade. We'll monitor it. You will stay with us. You will see how we monitor it. You'll see what we do with the trade. New Zealand. This is an active buy. Actually, we were putting on a sell here this morning. We closed the buy. We have a sell set up. The sell didn't trigger. Take it off. Take off the sell. We're trying to get this to go down some more. It went up. So we'll put the buy set up here once it pulls back. You have a small flag. Probably either in the small flag or in a bigger correction. Let's see which one we'll do. We closed the buy this morning at this level. We had a buy from here. We closed it in that one because it was 4 hours there. Should we put on a buy here? Not as yet. Wait for a flag. So we wait for a 1 hour flag. We'll wait for this to make a 1 hour flag. And if it makes a 1 hour flag, we'll take the trade to the upside. This can go up pretty much all the way to the top as well. If you remember the daily structure I showed you, all the way back to the top. We will trade this back to the top, and there's a good chance you either get this going up, or it comes here, it comes up here slowly, drop again, and then go. It will go. Go back to the 1 hour. We are taking trades from the bottom here, all the way. We've took, I don't know, a couple trades already that we closed. You're always going to close some trades because there's a time when it will make deep pull back and then go. You don't have to live through this. You can get out of your trade, take your profit, look for the next entry. Wait for the 1 hour. Swiss. This one is being very nice to us. This was a sell here. This is a sell here. This is a sell here. We're looking for another sell. Actually, we took a sell here and we closed it. There was a sell here we had. We closed it in here, and we're waiting for another sell. Now, there's a sell set up here. This is very aggressive. Go to the 15 minutes. And you can put a sell set up here 2 ways. You can either put it there for an aggressive trade or put it here for a conservative trade, which means if you don't want to get too aggressive, you can put it here. This will confirm the breakout. This could break out here and go back up. That's why it's aggressive, right? You could do this, come here, and then go right back up. Now, most of my traders could manage their way out of that trade for positive. So in our trading room, we did that this morning. We put the aggressive one, as well as we have the one for the general public, which is a conservative one. You wanted to confirm the breakdown before you go. right? So if you think you're capable of doing the aggressive one, good luck for you. If you think you want to wait for a solid breakout, you can put it here, which means this breaks down. We're coming to the bottom. What we're looking for? Well, pretty much coming back to this bottom here. We remember when this was doing all this crazy stuff, I said, well, it doesn't make a lot of sense at that point. I'm expecting it to do this. All of this would be correction. Come back here, probably go back there and then drop, because this would look very, very corrective within this whole structure, right? If you look at the entire piece coming down, right? Look at the entire structure. You've got a really sharp move up into it, 1, 2, 3, and then we start to do this. So I wouldn't be surprised if they come back here and then start to go up. We will see. This doesn't look like the one that is taking off. We'll know that when it comes to the bottom here. If it starts to go and it takes off really much to the upside, that'd be okay. It's a running flat, it could go, right? So there's a sell setup there. CAD, coming back, we probably are tagged in this. If you were tagged in this trade, you would look to close it now if it doesn't go through really fast, right? Your stop to this one would have been here. You got enter in this trade. It tag, you pull back, wait for this. By rule, you don't close the trade because it's just pull back if you got tagged suddenly. And we'll, as you go along, you'll see how we implement that rule. If it starts to come back aggressive like this, you can keep it. When it breaks through this, we'll put it to break even, because once it breaks through that, it has to go. If it comes down slowly like this, you close the trade because it's going to go back up. Right now, it's going down aggressive. So it's a trade you can keep for the sell. I think it's going to go. We know where this is going. It's coming back to the bottom here. This pattern is pretty clear. We're expecting something like this down here. At some point, it will probably break and make a deeper pullback, then drop. We'll get this flat, and then we'll get one more up. CAD in the bigger picture is making either a big correction for total upside, or we're going to be stuck in another correction. So all of you remember this. I showed that, and I showed you this, right? So we have 1, 2, 3. We have 1, 2, 3. We were expecting 1, 2, 3 here, then break the low. But it came down in a single piece and break the low. That by rule makes that pattern complete. So I'm expecting a move up like that. Now, remember, we had a really big correction here before this takes off. We're doing the same thing here. So the question is this a big pattern like this before we take off? Something like this that comes here and then takes off like that? Or is it going to just come to the top here, come back down here, go to the top again, then come make a new low and then take off, making this a three-wave structure within this pattern? See? You just learned something. Both of those are possible. And this is the huge difference from what I do that when any Elliott waivers do. They would label ABC and said, okay, we're going up, or they'll label something and tell you, okay, it has to go up. And I'm telling you, you don't determine what the pattern should be or what the pattern would be. You don't know that. Don't determine what the market is going to do. Follow what the market is doing. Understand each step of its development, and then see if it's going in the direction you want by giving you the setup, and then you trade it. If you don't get it, leave it alone, right? So this is what we are tracking, and either of those could happen, but it wouldn't make a difference to us because the trade would be to the upside, right? Once we finish this sell to the bottom there, the next trade would be to the upside. So it's coming down. That's what we expected. We're looking for that sell. It would come here, and then once we come to this, so we don't have to break the low, by the way, because this is a running flat, right? We broke the top of it already. This is the flat we're looking at. So once it comes to the bottom here, it will go back up. Either it will stop here and then go down back as a correction, or it will take off like a rocket. Who cares which one? You trade this down and then you trade that up, and when it gets here, it will tell you what it's going to do next. That's the difference, because we look at patterns and study them. We're not determining that the market has to do this pattern and alternation and all of those things, because it doesn't have to. The market is doing what it's doing, and you have to understand what it's doing. Try to figure that out and you'll get the market correct. So right now it's downside, it's a sell. If it consolidates here too long, by the way, this is something my traders know. If it consolidates within this range too long, close the trade, we'll put an entry lower. If this stays here much longer, close this trade, put an entry lower, and it could go back up there before it comes. We'll sell it from the top. Yen. We closed this trade and we put an entry there. The trade was from here. We closed that one. We closed it right at the bottom here. By rule, we should close it. I think this morning already we spoke about that, closing it there and putting the entry here. Now, I can tell you what I believe it's going to do. I believe this would probably go back up to the top, retest that top, and then drop. This would be more of a flat like that, but we don't have that flat as yet. And because we don't have that flat as yet, we're putting an entry under the low to go. We're not buying it. We're definitely not buying yen, because I think this is the most interesting pair you guys following me should know, right? Because this one went up as we expected, and it's coming down as we expected, because that's what the market does, right? So you're going to look for the impulse in this one should be this. And you can see this had a lot of corrections, so no need to worry about the corrections. At some point, it's going to do this, go back up to the top, drop, go back, come here, and then go back up, because this would complete this running flat. Right? You got a 1, 2, 3. All of you remember from here when I said it's going to go break the top, not even that top, it was coming to break this top, right? So if you understand that, you know that it's going to go, and you know it's coming back, because that's how the market behave. I don't see any other way that this could work right now. Right now it's still, and it's going down very aggressively, I should say. It's going very nice. So all sell setups we get will take. We're still keeping that sell entry there in case it drops. If it drops really sharp down to the bottom, it's a good trade. If it actually goes to the top, it'll be a better trade for us. We get a better sell setup. You're in New Zealand. You want to look for a buy setup in this as soon as you get it. We don't have a buy. We had an aggressive sell, and I think was on Friday here, which you probably closed that trade already, because once it comes to about this level, you should close it. I think this is making a correction. Probably go back up at some point. We'll wait for the upside. We don't have a sell setup. We don't have a buy setup. This is more of a consolidation for upside. This was your first impulse up. Come back at some point. It could come even deeper. They could make another flag here, drop again, another flag drop, but then eventually it's looking upside. The bigger picture is upside. Right? The bigger picture of this is upside. This is the impulse down. That is the correction. This is the impulse down. This was the impulse up. This is going to be the impulse up. At some point, you'll get something like this, and then it's going to come down. So if you understand that, you're looking for trades. We were looking for trades. We were buying the first impulse up. I think then it started to drop. It turns. We sold some of it from, I think we start selling from this point going down once we figure out it's going to go down back. Right? We were buying in this one. I thought this would be the takeoff. It didn't. They give us a big running flat. We start selling from this point coming down. We'll start buying from this point here. Actually, from the very bottom here, we started buying going up. I don't think this is going to drop. This move is really sharp. So we'll see. If this consolidation here takes off and break this top here, that's it. That confirms the upside. Very likely that confirms the start of the upside. So we're waiting for a buy setup here in this one. And if we get the buy setup, we could keep it for a very long-term trade. After a big consolidation, it could start a longer-term trade. You okay? Close the buy. So this buy we closed already. I left it on so that I explained to traders who were in it. This is an aggressive buy. We were looking at this here, right? We took the trade here. There's about 15 hours to close it. By rule, my traders close that trade. We can put an entry order here and still keep the trade, because what we're looking for is these corrections. This would probably just go there and come back here, make a running flat. But like the pound, remember we had an aggressive one in the pound. This could actually go there, make a flat, go there, make a flat, go there, then come back here to give us this running flat and then take off. So that's a trade that is active. You can put the entry order above the top there now. If it just tags you and come back, if it just tags you like this and come back here, don't worry, we're looking for this. If you can get out for break even, we'll take break even. Not, we'll let it come back here and then we'll look for that trade up, right? Your stop for this trade needs to be here. How you calculate your risk management, you should be very careful, right? No trade should have too high a risk in it, because in that case, you're going to break your account really quick. So let's go. Euro Swiss. We had a sale set up here. We closed it. We had a buy that we closed, and then we had a sell that we closed. So this right now should drop. It's a sell setup. The problem with this is that the sell is incomplete. The pattern is incomplete. This one would probably come here. I think we got this sell. We didn't get that sell. We looked at it, but we didn't take it. There was a reason. This one went back too much to the top. So we're looking at this here now and saying whether we can take this sell. It will probably do this, go back up there, then drop. So if we get this big flat, we'll sell it from here for one more before it goes up. The bigger pattern is this. See? The bigger pattern would be most likely this. So when it comes to the bottom here, the chances are it could go back up. I don't think that's all the correction. I think that is part of the correction, but there's a sell setup we'll take. We just are not taking it as yet, because I don't think it's ready for the downside as yet. It's still what I think is going to happen. Put it like this. I think this piece come back. So when this comes here, if it goes back up, we'll look for the sell. This would give you a flat in the middle. It will give you this flat, and then the sell from the top there would be good. So let's wait and see. If you don't get it, no problem. You miss one trade, no big deal. You're going to miss a couple more. Better to be safe. Euro Oz, if you're in the sell, you can still keep it. You can move it to break even, move it into positive and keep it if you're still in the sell, because it needs to break this low. And once it breaks that low, you look to take profit already from it, right? Because it's coming back in this correction. You're likely going to just break this low here, maybe a little like this, go back up to the top. We're expecting this to happen and then drop, right? This looks corrective. This looks corrective. So this should probably go back up to the top and then drop. 1 second, guys. Let me just. Sorry. Yep. So this could go back up, which means it's just going to break through this. You're looking at this possibility here, come to the bottom here, and then go right back up. Get to the top there and then drop. That's what we were expecting in this one, because if you look at the bigger picture, it's doing this. See? We had this big correction, we dropped, we're making a correction here to drop. So you go back to the 1 hour. If you're in the sell in that one, at least put it to break even. And if you're not, there's nothing to sell there. We'll wait for it to break the low and then we'll look for the buy. Euro-yen, it's actually going sideways. We'll take the sell, put an entry order under the low. Actually, you can put the entry order here. You don't need to break that up. You broke this up, so that's pretty okay. Look for that sell. It could become a running flat. I don't think it will, but it could become a running flat, which means it could drop here and then go back up. This is a good trade. So we'll take the trade, right? Even if it just breaks this low and go back up, we'll take the trade. So that's a sell setup. I'll put a sell here to manage that one as we go. And let's go. Euro-pound. We're waiting for a buy. There is no buy setup, but I'll put a buy in the making. For my traders, it's a buy in the making. Wait for the impulse, wait for a flag there, and then take the trade. So we're waiting for this to go up. Any flag in here, we'll take that trade to the upside or take it above the top. This should go back and break this top. Right? So we'll see if we get the trade. Pound Swiss. Wait for the sell. Wait for this to come back. Wait for this to drop and make a flag. It could still come here and go back up. We could take this trade, get that one. And if it breaks out, good. If it comes here, it's going to break the low and then go right back up. So this has like one more drop before it takes off to the upside. This trade has one more drop in it. That is this piece dropping to the low here and then going back up. We're looking at this and we're looking at this. So there's a good chance it could drop. I don't think we're going to come all the way to this low, but we might stay within this structure here. Like drop to the bottom, maybe even a little lower than that. And then I expect this to go back up in some kind of a three-wave structure to the top there. So keep it in the 1 hour. Wait for the sell setup. We don't have a setup as yet. Bangos. We can put an entry now for the buy. I think we can make if this is some kind of a triangular squeeze pattern, put an entry here for the buy. I don't think it is. It's not a triangular pattern. It's some kind of a contracting flats or series of contracting flats, which means at some point, if they go back up from here and they go really fast, you want the trade, right? So that entry is only if it takes off like a rocket, which is maybe in a news event that could happen. We'll look for that, right? If not, there's a chance it will come and break the low, right? This would come here, break the low, give you just a regular flat with all of this being some kind of a contracting flat in the middle. If we get a flag here under the low, we'll sell it for this and then upside. The buy would come from the bottom here. You don't know which one it's going to be. So there's no sense trying to figure out which one it's going to be. If it's the contracting flat or a series of contracts, it's going to take off really fast. You put the entry order. If it's not that, then I think it could, I believe mostly it's a flat, which means they'll probably do this and come. You can go through each one of the patterns and figure it out because the variations of the pattern could change, right? There are a lot of them. You will just confuse yourself more than you're trading, right? So let's wait and see. Just put the entry order, nothing will happen to it. Put the entry order in for a buy and leave it. We can buy it earlier than that also because the range is really huge. This is how much? Yeah, that's like 138 pips. If it doesn't go really fast and give us a buy setup somewhere in the middle here, we'll take the trade to the top. Hong Yen, you're waiting for a sell setup and you can actually put a sell here now, just under the last impulse for this trade. So we're looking for this trade to come here. There's a good chance that you can come here and then go right back up for this flat, right? But this trade is a good trade, so we'll take it. So that's a sell setup. If it goes higher to this level, we will still have a sell. So if just for traders, my traders know what I'm talking about, just for the traders who join us, if this climbs up to the top here like this, we're not buying into this. You really don't get a buy setup. You'll get yourself in trouble. Let it come there. It has to do this, and then it will go back up. So we will sell from here, take this trade, and then we'll look for that one up, right? And then maybe a drop, because we're still expecting downside here, right? The bigger picture is still downside. As a matter of fact, this could totally drop. I just remember, if this is the running flat, if this is a running flat here, this would just drop to the bottom. Literally, it could drop to the bottom if that's the running flat. We can't confirm the running flat until it breaks the slow. Right? When it breaks the low, we confirm the running flat. But for now, that's a great trade. Just assume it's a running flat and put the entry order. Right? So that's a sell. Uncat. Nothing as yet. Leave it. If we get a flag, we'll consider it the buy. If it's going to drop to break the low, we just let it go. We don't have any sell set up. Pound New Zealand, okay, this is coming back down, expected. It should go back up. This looks very, very corrective, but let it come lower. We don't have a buy setup there as yet. We will look for a buy setup. We don't have it. We can't sell it here because we're still in that up structure, and this is really, really, really corrective. I mean, if it had dropped and made a flag, I'll sell it, but there's no chance of selling that from there. Right? We knew this was going to come down. The bigger picture is downside. It will drop, but the range is big, right? So if it comes here and go back up, if it comes here, go back up to the top and then drop, we'll get it from the top here. We don't have a sell here. It has to break to make a flag, and then we go for that sell. Right? It is going to drop pretty much like this. See this here? 1, 2, 3. This will drop. This will come to this level. It's just not ready for that sell as yet. On the 1 hour, we don't have any sell setup. Right? So this small one is not a sell. It's a really small flag. You can make an argument whether this is the flat, and if that is the flat, then you have 1, 2, 3. Why sell at the bottom here? All it needs to do is do this and go back up. Right? So that's not a sell setup as it stands right now. If it drops, let it drop. If it drops, you get a pound yen. Right? If let's say it's a pound drop, we get a pound yen. Aussie yen, same structure like all the yen pairs, except this one is at the top. This one is at the very top here, see? So the chances are they're all making flats for upside. The chances are they're all going to do this, come here, go back up, and then drop, making a flat like this before we drop, similar to this, right? And then drop. So this will come down here, but because it's at the top of the structure, unless we get a sell setup at the top, then we're not selling it. Right, so we'll just let this drop. We'll take the pound yen and the euro yen. We have 2 yen pairs to sell. Euro yen, pound yen. Forget about this one. 1 second, guys. Let me just take this. Sorry about that. Just had to take a call, the urgent one, right? Part of trading life, right? So let's go. Aussie Swiss, we didn't do anything in the Aussie yen. Leave it. Aussie Swiss, we're in the middle of this sideways. It should go back up. Do we have any buy setup? Nope, just leave it alone. No buy setup. It's going up. There was a buy setup. I think you guys closed it already for Friday. So we'll wait for another flag. If we get another flag anywhere here, if we get another flag here, we'll take the trade back to the top there. Right, but let's get the flag. You need something like that. Maybe smaller one would work. Something like this would work. If we get something like that here, we'll take that trade to the upside. Let's go. Aussie, New Zealand. Okay, this one is coming down. We don't have anything. Ignore the buy, ignore the sell. Sorry, we'll wait for the buy setup. It's going up. It's just making a deeper correction for upside. See, we were expecting this to go up all the time, and it's probably going to go up much more. Why to that top? Let me see if I remember. Yeah, we're in this long drawn out sideways move, right? So this is going all the way to that top. This one is difficult to trade in that it moves really, really, really slow. A couple of my traders trade it, and you have to have a lot of patience trading it, right? So this would go up. It will break the low, go up some more at some point. It will stop somewhere here and then start to go up. You can look for that buy. Aussie CAD. Okay, this one is moving. Let's see if we can get a trade. This could go up. This is pretty much also upside, right? What we have here is this. We have this move up. We have a sharp move down, relatively sharp. This is one piece. This is one piece. You're probably going to get a few more pieces here. They're going to probably go do like this, come back here, and then go. So you might get some kind of a flat like this eventually. We don't know whether that is going to happen, but that's a likelihood because we have two very sharp moves there. We'll figure it out as we go. We're within this range. I can put these two lines, and I think we'll stay within this range for a very long period of time. Right? We're not going to go out of that range. Up, down, and then when we have a flat, we'll break the low, and then we'll go back up. So right now we're looking for buy setups. I don't think this is going to drop. Wait here. If we get a flag, we'll take the trade. If we don't get a flag, we'll get any sell setup, we'll take it, but we don't have any sell setup. So just wait in it. New Zealand Swiss. Also going up, but this is gone. This was the low. We broke the low. We were expecting for an up trade. I think we had a buy in it. I'm not sure whether any of the traders take this flag. If not, wait for another flag. Once we get a flag, we'll take a trade, right? We don't have anything to buy into that. New Zealand CAD. This was a buy. This is the one we took, not the New Zealand Swiss. Sorry, New Zealand CAD. This was the buy. And you have a second buy there now, right? I think this one you could have closed it here, put an entry there, see that? Close this. There was an entry above this top here. It's pulling back, but on the 1 hour, you'll make a running flat here, right? You can literally see that a running flat is coming here. Put a stop to this trade here. If it breaks the running flat, you don't want to trade. So you book this profit, right? That profit is booked here. An entry above the top, put the stop on this one here. If it goes lower, we'll buy it from lower. But if it's just making a flat for upside, we'll wait for another flat and then we'll go. So the second trade, the first trade should close a profit. The second trade, you're waiting. If they pull back deep enough, we'll wait for a buy here and then we'll take the trade back to the top. This one could go back all the way to the top. See, this could go back all the way to the top. This is pretty much similar to the New Zealand dollar. We broke through a little, but then we're going back here. And if it goes really aggressive, we're going to go out. If they go slow, come here and we'll come back down. So go to the weekly, it's upside. See? Got a deep pullback here. There's a high probability they come back and we test the stop. Let's go into 1 hour. Any flag we get, we'll buy. Right? If it goes, it goes. If it doesn't go, no problem. Keep the stop here under this one. Keep the stop under this piece here. For this one, and for this one, close it already if you closed it. If you closed it and then put that entry, we'll take that loss if it comes. If it just comes here and go back up, you'll survive this small running flat. Right? If it's a small running flat, it will go back up. New Zealand yen. I think this and the Aussie yen both are telling us the possibility is when they come here, well, depending on if you look at this as a running flat, then this could drop, right? But if this comes just about this level and go back up, we'll look at that as this is the bigger flat. Can we sell it? If we'll sell it from the top, if we get a flag. Don't sell it from here. You wouldn't have a good risk to reward because if you sell it from here, all it needs to do is break this low here and go back up. You will not get a risk to reward, even if you get a break even. If we get a sell from the top there coming here and then go back up, the risk to reward is good, right? So we wait for this one. It's a sell in the making. Wait, I'm sorry, wrong one. It's a sell in the making. Wait for the impulse and the flag, take the trade. CAD, we have a sell set up already on it. If it drops, we want the trade. This one is almost perfect. So once this drop here, once this drop through the low, we're looking for this trade, break the low. It could go back up or it could continue to go down, depending on if there's a bigger structure in play. CAD Swiss, it's still a buy. It's aggressively still a buy from this point. It could be a flat, but right now, because we have the possibility of this running flat, that this could be a bigger running flat here, this could go back up to the top. So we'll keep it. If this just comes here and go back, we'll close the trade. You will be here with us. You will see how we close the trade. So if this goes to the top here, we're looking for this trade to the upside. Actually, you can move it lower. Now we broke the low. You can move it to this level because we broke that low. So if this goes up to this top here and decide to drop again, we'll take break even on the trade. And then we'll look for the sell. If it goes up and continue to go, we stay with the trade. Right? So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. If this drop lower, we close the trade. If this comes here and drop lower to this level, back to the low, we take off this entry order. We'll wait for it to go back up and then we'll sell. So it's a step-by-step process. Swiss yen. Not much. You get a sell set up here. We can actually put an entry order for this to drop to this level, and either they go back up or they break through. Take the entry order here. Put the entry order here for the sell. We'll put the sell on. Sell, it's a sell. Right, so that's a sell. Watch it when it drops to this level. You can, when it drops, break this low here because they could go back up one more. If you go with the running flat here, if you take the running flat as this one, then they're going to drop through the bottom. Whichever comes, we'll take it. That's a good trade. So we're looking at a 4 hour. This can drop straight through the bottom here. Right, I like it actually. We could always arrange, we could always look at this as a bigger running flat with this one. And this could come all the way to the bottom. So let's keep the trade. We'll see where it goes. All right, risk to reward is a good trade. And let's see this one. Stay away from it. That was a sell. If you sold, you close it, you re-enter here. You close that here, you re-enter here, close it. Or you close it in this one if you re-enter there. If you didn't, then you should have taken it off once it go back that high, right? Because it's too high. We're looking for this small flag. Anyway, let's go. We don't have anything there right now. It has to make a bigger correction. Actually, if it comes back to the top here, and you want to trade that flat, you put an entry here and wait for it to drop. Right, let it go back up first. We'll have a session in New York session. We'll look at that trade there. I'm going to go through this really fast, right? Natural gas, stay away from it. US oil, it could go up some more. This was a sell we took. We closed that sell. Some people got profits, some got break even. You close the trade. We're waiting for a bigger trade down. So let me show you this pattern really quick. This is going to go back up. It could probably even make another flat here, then go there, making a flat like this, go there, and then come here. This would be a flat. Go back up and then drop. Now, when it drops to this level, this is where the question comes. Do we look at this as a big flat here for upside, or could this actually drop through to the bottom lower? I don't know. You don't have to know that. You just get the trade from the top here, and when it comes to the bottom here, we'll figure that out. Right? The market will show you what it's doing. Right now, we're not buying it. There's a buy setup, maybe not worth buying, right? Because this consolidation somewhere at the top here will start to come down. Wait for the sell. The risk to reward would be in the sell. So if this comes here and give you a flag for a sell, we'll take that trade back here. If it just comes to this level, go back up, you get break even, you sell it from the top again, coming. So we'll figure out that one as we go. Let it consolidate. It's both of them in consolidation, see? Both of them have the similar structure. So let it go. Don't interfere with the trade, nothing to do. PayPal is a buy if you want it. It's a long-term buy. These you trade mostly long-term. This is consolidating here. We took the buy early, but if it goes back, it should probably go there. You can put it to break even. It either continues to go or it drops. Can it drop one more? I think it can drop one more. Right? But it's so low at the bottom that the risk to reward in the buy is very good, right? We have to correct this thing at some point. They have to either do something like this and then drop, or literally go back up. Right? So the buy at this level is a good idea with divergence and play and everything. You're not really risking much, and the reward that you could get is really much, right? So pretty much you're back at break even. If you want, you could have closed it here, but if you kept the trade and it goes like this, put the stop here and then put the stop to break even. Tesla. Leave this. This could go back up from this point, but wait for an impulse, wait for a flag. We broke that low. Wait for an impulse. Wait for a flag, and then we'll take it back to the top. Right when we get that. We don't have anything right now. Amazon. Also the bottom. So let's see. This is not a buy setup though. This is more of a sell setup in the making. So just leave it alone for now. US 30. These were trades we had that we closed. We had a number of trades here. We closed them this morning. Since last Friday, you should have closed it. One of it was there are a number of sells we took from there that should have closed at the bottom here. A lot of corrections at the bottom, flag making. See, all of these were closed. All three of them. Now we're waiting for the possibility that it could make an up move. Put it in the 4 hour. This could go right back up to the top here now. Right? Either drop or make a new high. Either possible right now. Right? Which one is it going to be? Well, come here, wait for a flag, take the trade to the upside. Right? So we're getting a small flag here. I would probably let it be a little bigger than that. Let this come down a little more here. You can put an entry above that. This is a really small flag, which put that trade as a high risk. But if it comes down here and make a bigger one like this, right? If you get a bigger one like that, we're definitely buying it. Leave this for New York session. Most of the movements in these happens in the New York session. So if it consolidates down here to the New York session, we'll take the trade to the upside. All three of them. See, this one you can actually put the entry. This was a sell. Put the entry order here now. It's a small flag. It will not go very far. I can tell you in advance that it might just break like this and then come back for the bigger correction before it goes. You actually want that bigger correction to confirm the trade. You get a bigger impulse with it, right? So this, if this goes, is going to be just a small tag there and then come down. So we'll figure it out when we come in your X session. If you want to put that now, we'll manage it. So we'll put this as a buy and we'll manage it for you. It is an aggressive buy, by the way. Same here. You can put this as a buy now and manage it, right? Because it's more of a very aggressive buy. Right? It's a very small flag. They're not going to take off like the rocket. They'll just break the top here, pull back deeper, and then go. We'll close the trade. Keep the stop under the low. Calculate your risk under the low. We don't have anything here. Nifty. Start to look for your upside now. Anything above here that makes a flag buy. You need a flag above there. If they drop one more, let it drop. So if this is going to drop one more here, let it drop and then look for the buy setup. The sell is not a good idea. Right? They keep doing this. This was a running flat there. Unless you get a really, really good sell setup, then it's, consolidate for a longer period of time. But right to the low here, selling is a bad idea. I would let it break the low. Confirm they're going down more by making flags here, and now you sell. Right? This could be a running flat for total downside. 1, 2, and this is total downside. We don't know that. Most times it's a flat for upside. So you can't really say which one it is. And now we've come to the main part. Let's go. Bitcoin, the one that gets everybody confused. It's a buy setup still, right? Now, if you look at the big picture in Bitcoin, from this point, it can go back up and it can do two things right now. This will either come back to the top here and drop again, to the top here somewhere and drop again, because this might be a 1, 2, 3 structure. 1, 2, 3, come back here like this, and then go. Or this totally go back, break the top. Once it breaks the top, you got to be very, very careful. Because once it breaks the top, this thing could drop like crazy. So can you buy it to the upside? I think we have a buy setup here. We have an impulse, we're getting a correction. Is this the one that is going to go? I don't know. I'm not sure how these moves. I mean, in terms of the ways to sell, this looks corrective to me. Probably drop here and then go. All right, but we'll see. How long would it correct here? Doesn't matter. Keep your entry above the top. If you bought here, perfect. Put it to break even. If you're following me, you would have probably bought here. Put that to break even. Let's see what happens. ETH, same thing. This one is actually breaking out of this structure. Looks like it's going to start the upside, but I'll be very careful with this because it can make a little big one. Come here, probably go back there, drop lower, go back to the top, and then come down. If it stays this long here, we're going to look for a flat. One more down, then the upside. But put the entry above the top, because if this is a slow start to the upside, and it actually does that, you want to be in the trade. The idea is if they make a sudden spike, you want to be in that trade. XRP should be the same. Yep, this one is still doing the same thing. This looks very much like it's going to drop one more. I'm not selling them. I don't think you should sell them. This looks like it's going to drop one more here, right? And then maybe go up. Let it drop. Put an entry above the top here and then look for the buy. So you can keep your entry here for now. Don't put it, because we just tipped the low here and it's not taking off. So don't keep the entry lower. You'll put it lower when we break that low again. Same here. This looks like it's going to go down back. You can keep the entry there, but this definitely looks like it's going to make a new low here before it goes. If they come too low into this, it will be flat. You wouldn't be in any trade. ADA. This definitely looks more downside. Right, this piece here definitely looks more downside, but we're all in this impulse, so that's still consolidation, right? If this actually, if it goes like this, goes like this, goes like this, and then come here, it could go back up, come back here, and then go. We're still going to be in consolidation. See, so no need to freak out. Keep your entry above the top. This here, this you see again, this started to shoot up, but it hasn't broken that up, which means we're still in consolidation. So leave this alone. Let's see this dash. Dash probably is the only one you're in right now. You got tagged in that. That is a good trade. Keep your stop under the low. If you're trading this, you have to trade them more or less long term. If you were short term, you're in this trade and in and out of it more often than I'm showing you. But if you're in the trade already, just wait until it goes a little above the top, put it to break even, and we'll see what happens. Link is also going up, but you can see that this looks corrective. This piece started to look corrective here. It would probably do this, come here. maybe come back here and then go. This would be the flat. See? So it comes back to the top, you let it come here where you put the entry above the top. We'll buy it from this level going up, or we'll get it. If this takes off, you're in the trade. Let's assume that this is all a correction. Let's assume that this is all a correction. And this one is trying to go. Well, you have an entry there for it. But don't buy it inside the correction because it will tag you and drop. Right? And you wouldn't have an exit. Same here. They all look like they're going up really, really slow. Either they're a slow start or it's corrective. And the same thing here. This one, don't touch it. Let that drop. This will drop more too. Definitely looks like it's going to drop more. Let's see this. You should be in this one already. If you're in this one, now you can move your stop to break even. If you're in it, then put an order to sell just above here, which means if this come back here, you're selling, right? It will make this running flat. We'll look for a buy here going up. Or any flag here would be a buy. If you get a running flat, a confirmed running flat, any buy here is okay. Since you don't have a confirmed running flat, you buy above the top and you put an entry order to sell. If it keeps going up, you're in the trade. If it drops, you buy lower. I think these three we're looking at because these three look very nice. The consolidation is way over the top here and it's like more of a cluster. So this looks like it could take off. So these three I'm looking at clearly simply because of the pattern, right? This one, you're tagged in it already. This is what you would do. If you got tagged in this, let's say you're taking this, you're long term, you don't have to really worry. But if it starts to slow down here, like consolidate in here, close the trade, put the entry above the top. Because there's a chance it's going to come back here. And it could either break the low because we broke the top. It could either break the low, you buy back under the low, or it comes here and start to go back up and buy back here. Even if you're long-term in the trade, you don't have to keep it, right? There's no sense keeping it long-term because then what you're doing is giving up back what you had, right? Whereas you can take the same money and buy it much cheaper. And let's see this one. This one you're into. This one actually we added lately. One of my traders trading this and he showed us and I said, yeah, I like it. Let's put an entry there and keep it. So you should be in this. You can actually put an entry to sell here. So if they do this, you're out of the trade. We'll buy back under the low. If they keep going, you're in the trade and it's going very nice. These three we added lately because my trader, one of them is looking at them. He's very keen on all the cryptos. So he would tell me which one to look at. And then this one is going to consolidate more, leave it. This one here will consolidate more. This one you're tagged in it, you should close this. Close it. It tagged you once, it pull back, it tagged you second time, close it, put an entry above the top. You got break even, or take break even, make sure you get break even, and then put the entry above the top. Basically, right? Don't keep the same trade because if this drops here, let's say you bought here, right? We're right. You close now. You got break even, or you got a few cents less, right? And this drop here. You take the same money and you can buy much more here under the low, right? Then, and if it goes from here, well, you buy a little less, but you still got profit here. So, but you're sure now it's going. Then with this case where you're not sure whether it's going to drop or it's going to go. So even if you're buying it without leverage, you can do it that way. And you're in a safer position. You don't have to have the nervousness and worries and all the crazy thing of living through all of that and praying. You become very religious after a time. You start praying, but you're never going to do that again. So you don't have to do all of that. You just close the trade and wait for another entry. So basically the session is over. I will stop the recording, but I'm not closing the room. So you guys wait